Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're playing a best of 3 match of Infinite Chess against chess YouTuber Pjschess. We are similarly rated and have some pretty intense games on his streams, so this should be fun. Let's dive in. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and play and create a private room. I'm thinking 5-2 is probably a good time control. Gives enough time for us to think about our strategy, but also play quick. Let's go ahead and create this invite. Alright, while we wait for him to join the game, I definitely recommend you go check out his channel and subscribe. He streams almost every single night, and I join pretty frequently because we have some pretty darn good games. Alright, game number 1. As you can see, we are on an infinite board, and we've been assigned the black pieces. I did find out about arrows, so that will be very helpful. Now, first thing I'm going to do is zoom out just a little bit, because if we're going to play infinite chess, we might as well play it the right way. Let's play rook over. Because you can see, I said let's play it the right way, and I'm being very, very timid about how far out we go on this infinite board. How did I blunder already? Oh, it's so crazy how when your chess heuristics go out the window, you start playing so much worse. Oh goodness. Okay, you know what? Now we definitely have to full commit. Let's play queen all the way back, threaten the bishop, and our Megamind strategy here is going to be just to overwhelm the opponent with how big the board is. Okay, we get rook over, but unfortunately it's not on the right file, so we can pick up this bishop. Let me make sure there are no ulterior threats. I don't believe there are. All right, and we're not even yet. He probably still has an advantage, but it's a little bit better now than it was a second ago. All right, the knight develops, and I'm thinking the first thing we should do here is give a little cheeky check back here on whatever square that is. We give a check on this diagonal, immediately taking advantage of the king. PJ himself will tell you that most of my game revolves around playing as aggressively as possible, so this kind of sneaky attack from the back is right down my alley. All right, let's play rook to the side and not hang it this time. In fact, let's move it all the way out here. I don't know if you guys can even see that on your screen. Hold on a second. We'll grab this rook and move it nice and far out to the side. Our own king, I don't believe is in any danger right now because there's no pieces that can come and attack it from behind. So we're going to bring more pieces into the attack. I guess this is developing in a sense. It's a very strange way of developing, but it is developing. Let's zoom out just a little bit so you guys can see how far that rook is. Yeah, it's nice and far out, but we do want to give this check on the rank that the king is on at the moment. We'll go ahead and leave that rook out there for just a second. As far as developing other pieces, I think the same will apply for the bishops. It's probably fastest to just develop the bishops backwards and bring them out through the side. Because I can't imagine it's particularly practical to move these pawns and then have to break through other pieces. I mean, there's a very nice line of pawns here, and it serves as a very good defense. So I think it's probably most practical for us to continue to develop backwards and then out through the sides. Now, the knight comes back. It would block the rook if I ever thought about giving this check. So I'm thinking we bring more pieces into the attack. Let's move this bishop nice and far back as well. Make sure we're not hanging it to this rook, but we are not. We're one file over. And the strategy here, I think, is to bring it out and behind, and then I think we're looking at some pretty sneaky ideas. Now for you guys, this probably just looks like a whole bunch of colors. I'm not sure how much zooming in I need to do, but I think a good part of our strategy is actually playing nice and far out on the board. There is this check threatened, but I think just knight back and there's no further issues. So let's move the bishop out here. I will admit doing the practice problems has helped my vision quite a bit. It's not so difficult for me to see that this bishop is on the diagonal that will sit right next to the queen anymore. Okay, we do get this check, but again, I think the knight comes back and we are very nicely defended here. This rook by itself, I don't believe is going to be able to break through. So now we can divert our attention back to what's going on over here. Okay, the bishop moves back. Even in infinite chess, I can't avoid the nasty arrows. Okay, I'm thinking check, and the bishop is probably here to defend. It's a real shame that we lost this rook because there's no other piece to bring into the side attack. But how's this? Let's start by bringing this rook in. I'm not really sure where exactly I'd like it quite yet. Let's bring it, whoops, move the whole board, onto this file right here, or rather this rank right here. It serves to sort of cut off the king, and even though there's no specific reason that that's bad at the moment, it's kind of similar to real chess. If you just slowly start cutting off the number of options your opponent has, eventually something has to come of it. Okay, we do get pawn to c4. I think he's going more with the strategy of playing it a little bit like normal chess, which if you can't tell, I have already abandoned, but I think that serves us. Let's play this check now. I want to be careful not to trade off pieces because right now I only have 1, 2, 3 different pieces in the attack, and when the opponent has the whole army surrounding the king, it's probably not going to be enough to actually get checkmate. But the king does just move out of the way. Oh, that means we can pick up the free queen. Don't mind if I do. Okay, the rook takes back, so it wasn't completely free. It's It's really strange. I feel very blind at the moment. Let's play. We now have 2 pieces in the attack. I think that's a valid trade. I mean, getting a free queen, I think, is justified. Let's bring another piece into the attack. We'll also sneakily attack the rook while we're at it. Okay, the rook comes back and actually pins, this is the longest pin I've ever seen in my life, pins the bishop to the queen. So, kind of still playing like regular chess. I'm going to move the queen out of the pin, giving check, and the bishop is temporarily hanging, but obviously the opponent cannot take. They have to deal with this check first. Now the king has moved out of the way. Wait a minute, hold on. I was gonna say the king has moved out of the way, and maybe there's ideas of almost checkmate here, but the king can just move forward into the board. So, it doesn't quite work. Let's play bishop here. Now we've moved the bishop out of danger, and we're looking for this attack from behind. We do get put in check. We're dropping this knight, but I don't think it's a huge deal. We can kind of just move the king out of the way, and even though we do hang the knight, the rook by itself is never going to mate our king. We're always going to be able to just sort of run around our knight and dodge these checks. Okay, the bishop is developed. The king is on a light square, so it's very clear that he has the plan of bringing more pieces into the attack. Again, I'm still going to make the argument that there aren't enough of them. Not to mention, this should almost be mate in a moment. Okay, so let's zoom in here a little bit. We have this bishop check. We have the rook controlling this rank. So there has to be some combination where that leads to checkmate. So if we give bishop check, the king only has 1 move, which is forward. Oh, and then the queen just comes down and delivers mate. Oh, nice. Okay, so we'll play that. Check. I believe I've calculated that correctly, but to be honest, ever since I hung that rook on the first turn, I've been doubting most of my moves ever since. And mate. Okay, nice. With that, we do win game number 1. A little bit of a rocky start for us. Not a very tactically inclined game, but let's go to move on to game number 2. All right, game number 2, we get the black pieces again. We are not falling for any silly business like this ever again. And I wonder if we should try to play this like normal chess, because that was legitimately another strategy. I was thinking about it this morning, but I feel like it's too slow. It's going to be, in my opinion, always slower to try to break through a wall of pieces than to sort of just sneak your pieces around and attack the king from behind. I feel like that's always going to be at least marginally quicker. So let's start by developing the queen. I can't believe moving the queen backwards some 5 or 6 squares is developing it, but it's just in the nature of the variant. So we're developing the queen because now there's the idea of, oh, we're off by 1 square, check from behind, and obviously that's not nearly enough for mate, but we start bringing pieces into the attack. We get queen back, which does cover that square, which is totally okay. I think we just need to bring more pieces now. The only issue I see here is the queen has a very nice line of sight here to our own king with a pretty nasty check. I don't know how much we need to worry about that, but it doesn't look awfully friendly. Let's do this. We'll develop the bishop by moving it back to this square. It covers that checking square, so the queen can no longer come down and give check. And there's some ideas of developing the bishop. Oh, that's the wrong diagonal. Developing the bishop, hitting the rook. Maybe if we go a little bit further, we can get behind the position and we start bringing even more pieces into the attack. Okay, the rook goes back. It's pretty clear that this game is trending towards a kingside attack. Let's continue to bring pieces over. I'm actually going to start. Is it silly of me to start with the bishops? You know what? Let's do something a little bit different. Let's play knight here. And I know it's a little bit of a weird move. I'm going to do my best to justify it, even though I myself am not 100% certain of its strength. But the idea is I want to support the rook in going onto this open file, targets the queen with a tempo, brings my rook into play, and also develops the knight. Now, the obvious issue, the bishop can take the knight. I take back, I have doubled pawns. But I think knights in this variant are always going to be significantly weaker and just serve as either defensive pieces or anchors for other pieces. So we get rid of the opponent's long-range bishop that can literally move infinite squares for a knight that is always going to be restricted to moving in the shape of an L. Now we do get this sneaky rook move over, looking to bring the rook into the attack. I could play a little bit trappy and just play like d5, or rather b5, looking to capture the rook with my bishop. But the problem is if my opponent sees it, then I've basically wasted a tempo and they get to bring another piece into the attack. So we're not going to play that. We're going to continue with the idea of sliding the rook over. We target the queen, it's anchored by the knight, and we sort of have the same idea as the opponent, bringing more pieces into the attack. Whoa, that is a scary move to see on the board. Queen comes all the way down. That cannot be a good sign. Yeah, this queen is about to cause us some major headaches. And the real issue is I don't even think there's actually ever going to be checkmate with just these 2 pieces in the attack, but we're immediately going to be playing defense. Not to mention I'm down to 2 minutes on the clock. I've realized now the formatting of my monitor, it's a wider monitor, so you guys can't see the clock in the bottom right corner. here, but I am down to 2 minutes, and I will certainly keep you guys updated as that starts to trickle down. Okay, so there's a couple of different threats that we have to play against. There's these 3 checks, and I guess you could also say that there's this check on the board. But we'll deal with the close range ones first. Let's play this and offer a queen trade. I don't genuinely believe he's going to trade queens because he's now on the offensive, but he might be interested in entering an endgame. It'll make the checkmate trickier later. I'm down to 1:30 as well. And basically with this single move, we've covered all 3 of these checks. So I think that's worth something. I mean, I'm not super afraid of that long range check that I pointed out earlier. And get queen down instead. Of course, not interested in trading queens, which makes perfect sense. Let's play. Is there any counterattack? I could really use a counterattack right about now. Let's play check. I don't even really care if this is concrete. I just don't want to be playing defense. It's just not something I do very well. The king moves over. Let's bring another check onto the board. As long as I'm not hanging the queen, I'll be fine. Wait a minute. Is that hanging the queen? No, that queen's on a light square, so it can't be. Check. I mean, those are like, that's a good example of like the few heuristics that come into play. If you see a light squared piece like a queen that only controls light squared diagonals, can't possibly attack your queen on a dark squared diagonal. This bishop is now completely hanging. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Seems a little bit loosey-goosey. Let's play this to stop any checks on the diagonal. If we get a check on the file, whoop, wrong file. If we get a check on this file, we can move the bishop back. Okay, we get rook down. He's being very, very patient about bringing this attack to fruition. Let's give another check. Another check just to buy us some time. We're down under a minute now. It's not looking very, very good for us. King shuffles over again. I mean, we could try to force a draw. It's not really what I'm looking for, though. And actually, even if I give this check, the bishop just comes and blocks. So I don't even think I have a draw on the table. Oh, I didn't want to have to do this. Okay, let's, oh goodness. Let's play this. Bishop back. And the idea, I guess, is to play defense. That's not where I wanted to end up. Wasn't quick enough on the attack. To be fair, we started with the black pieces, but at the same time, I feel like this strategy was just awfully slow to gain a single tempo on a queen that intended to move into the position anyways. We get checked immediately. Let's block with the knight. Absolute worst case scenario, we get checked here. We block with the bishop, and I don't think we're getting forked for this rook in any way. Okay, we'll block with the bishop as well. We're down to 35 seconds now. The opponent still has a full 3 minutes on the clock. Way better time management than I'm doing right now. But again, there's only 2 pieces in the attack, so I might be okay. If I just don't flag, I think I can at least hold down the fort. There will have to be many, many more pieces coming into the attack. Oh goodness, that's quite annoying. How do I defend that? Knight back, I guess? What a crummy position. It's so bad. We've got a battery staring at our bishop, and this is all being held together by just about a thread. A very thin one at that. Both of these rooks are hanging as well, so let's try not to get checked and drop one of those rooks if we can manage it. And look at our attack. Consists of a single queen. Okay, what's our strategy here? Because I've been playing a whole bunch of defense, and unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to continue doing that. The time control is 5-2, so maybe I should be trying to gain back some time with some checks. I mean, there's no lack of checks on the board. Okay, the bishop comes back. Check number 1. I don't even know if I'm gaining back time just because of how long it takes to make a move. Check number 2. I'm not gaining back any time. I'm holding dead even. Okay, we have to play offensive. Let's go here, threaten the knight. I'm just going to bank on this being enough to hold the position together, and if it's not, then tough luck. Let's bring the queen down. You know what? I'm not even going to look at the bad situation down here. I'm going to zoom in nice and far, ignore everything that's going on back there, and just see if I can win this. Wow, everything's held together so nicely. I mean, let's play here. Maybe there's a checking idea. We're down to 20 seconds as well. Yeah, and the problem is I have some of my strongest pieces playing defense. Bring another rook into the attack. Looks promising. The queen is not on the same rank as the opponent's queen, so no issue there. Queen comes over. Check. We're down to 16 seconds, but I think we're holding fine here. Oh, wait. That is hanging. Oh, it's so bad. Let's just move it over. Move the rook over. This attack has fizzled away pretty much. It's just a single rook. So I think we can put most of our effort into this attack now. We have 12 seconds left on the clock. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to calculate this efficiently enough to make this happen, but we'll try our best. There's a check idea here. There's just so many pieces defending the king. I mean, I have a couple of nice pins set up, but it's not going to be enough. Even this rook is nice and defended. We'll get ready to move the rook over as well. There's a minute left for the opponent. We might actually be able to hold on here. Oh, I definitely don't want a queen trade. Let's just move over. 5 seconds left on the clock. Holy smokes. Okay, let's focus up here. How about this? Put more pressure on this bishop and try to get a sort of sneaky mate. I think that is a valid idea. The knight is now pinned, so it's basically hanging. Okay, the rook comes down, so this is free. We're threatening here. If the queen defends, we probably need to bring more pieces into the attack at that point. 6 seconds left for the opponent, 5 for us. Oh, we have this check. King moves over, check. King moves back. Oh no, we flagged! Oh, I didn't think I was taking that long to calculate that. I was just going to draw, I was literally just going to draw this last arrow, and then I was going to make the move, but we did flag game number 2. All right, we are 1-1. I guess this does give us a good reason to move on to game number 3. All right, game number 3, what's the strategy? Bring your pieces out as quickly as possible. If you have to play defense, play it with the knights. Don't waste tempos unless you absolutely have to, and play very aggressively. Okay, we get the white pieces. This is excellent. We'll go for a kingside attack. We'll play it extra far from the king just to be very, very annoying. Oh, that's not even the right diagonal. Let's make sure we're playing on the right diagonal if we're going to play this far away from the board. We need to land on this diagonal right here to deliver check. Most of these attacks can be rangy at the beginning anyways, because we're not looking to tangle up their pieces quite yet. We need more pieces in the attack. Okay, the queen moves back as well. Let's play. Does this check already work? Yeah, it does. Okay, let's play check. We've got the first check on the board. We're already off to a good start. The king just shuffles over. Okay, now how do we bring more pieces into the attack? The threat of the opponent right now is check. From behind, we'll probably end up shuffling over as they have done, because there's no other way to defend that. So we'll just take a moment to develop a rook. Oh, wait a minute. There's this idea of check. King shuffles over. Check, but you can't actually fork my rook if I'm on this square instead. Or rather, wait a minute. It's so hard to calculate this distance. Check. The king shuffles over 1 square. Check. And the queen also covers this square. So we'll just move the rook over 1 and we should be fine. We're already down to 4 minutes. I need to do way better with time management. Okay, the queen does give check. We'll shuffle over. In the perfect world, I can just defend with the knights. Whoa, the queen comes in right away. That is a very scary attack. Okay, we want to defend with the knights. So how do we do that? Knight here. This knight covers the square where the queen can give check. The rook is now defending the bishop, and the knight covers the diagonal. It's a little bit of an involved defense, but I really do think it's just so much more worth it to drop the knights back and still have the bishops later for the attack if necessary. Whoa, okay, we get rook all the way over. I think we're still a little bit ahead of our opponent, so let's give check number 1. I want to play with as many checks as possible. If the king shuffles over, I'm going to use those tempo to climb the queen forward towards the king. And if somebody just defends, wow, predicted that one right on time, then I guess we just bring more pieces into the attack. Now the question is, do I waste a tempo and bring the bishop into the attack? So I have these ideas, or do I just bring the rook down right away? Issue is I don't see how I capitalize on bringing the rook in so quickly, unless there's kind of this trappy idea of bringing the rook down. If the opponent rook comes into play, we bring the rook over, and the threat is mate on this diagonal. Or rather, the knight would block, and then we take, king comes up. I mean, there has to be something there. I think it works. I'm going to take a gamble on it. Let's play rook down. It's also very strange to me that I'm not able to list squares as I normally would. I don't think we've played a single move on a normal square. I guess king d1 and king d8 were the only ones that were normally played, but we use a grid system here anyways, as you can see from the xy coordinates offered on top based on where your cursor moves to. All right, we'll see what he decides to do against this. Okay, the queen comes down. Now, ooh, I guess there is a drawish idea here. Check, or rather, let's zoom in here just a little bit. Oh no, I don't want to move the knight. Oh goodness, that was close. Okay, check, I move over. Check, again, I can only move over. And that is very, very drawish. Okay, what about this? What if I push the pawn forward and create an escape square for the king? Well, the question is that even the plan? Or is he just looking to grab a free knight? If he's looking to grab a free knight, then the checkmate works. So I'm going to try this, or rather not the checkmate, but the attack goes through quite easily with this diagonal check. You capture the free knight, and there's probably just not enough defense for the king there. Now, if we do get checked back here, move over, check again, I genuinely don't think I have a way to get out of that draw. I mean, I would never dream of bringing the king forward. Okay, let's block with the knight. Oh, we dropped the rook, but now we get the attack. Okay, this is good. We're not dropping either of these bishops either because the knights sort of like cross defend. So we're actually doing quite well here. Let's play check. Let's make sure we actually play check. Nice, that is check against the king. There's only one legal move, which is blocking with the knight. Then we'll take with the queen. Again, only one legal move, which is moving the king forward. And we're looking at a pretty good attack here. I have to be very precise. There is a rook over here, so let's maybe not blunder the queen to that. Okay, how do we follow through on this? The obvious move here is check. King moves over, check. I mean, eventually something has to come out of that, I assume. So let's give that a try. Check with the queen. If the king moves back, then there's just rook check, and that's quite scary. But the king moves over, check again. Not worrying about the queen, because obviously we do that with tempo. a little bit of a sneaky trap here. If I try to take the bishop, I lose the queen to the rook. We're down to a minute as well. Let's maybe not lose on time again. We'll bring the king as far out as we, reasonably can. Check again. We don't want to lose the rook to the bishop, so we have to move the king out another square. King comes out, nice check. And if we can isolate the king, I mean, maybe we can force checkmate. I might even have to bring one of these pieces in somehow with like a tempo. Well, it's a little bit far-fetched. I think it's possible. Oh, wanting to keep the king nice and close. That makes sense. Let's play check. King moves up again. Check with the queen. King has to keep moving out further, which I can only assume is good for us. And again, we do have a relatively solid defense back here, so not a whole lot to worry about. How about check with the queen, forces the king out even further. It drops the rook as well, so maybe I should just be picking up material. Let's do that. For one quick tempo, we will be greedy and pick up a rook. And I think if we can, pick up the rest of these pieces, the defense just falls through, and we should have a way to hopefully mate the opponent. All right, the rook comes into the attack, maybe looking for a sacrifice. If the rook does sack, we only have a minute to calculate this. If the rook does sack, I take with the bishop, the queen takes, I play here, and we're doing fine again, so let's pick up the knight. Or even better, we can just take with the king. No, let's take with the bishop because we already calculated that. Yep, we cover with the bishop. There's no check on the diagonal, no check on the file, or rather no check on the rank, and obviously no check on the file because the knight covers that. So we should be in for a quick checkmate here, hopefully. We need it because we only have a minute left on the clock. We'll take with check. We'll zoom in here because we're pretty much going to ignore the rest of the board. There's still no check here, so I can also pick up this bishop. Now there's officially no defense left for the black pieces, to be fair. We don't have much of a defense going on ourselves, and our pawns are getting consumed quickly. We have a minute to finish this off. Let's play check. If the king comes up, we just play check with the queen. There's no ladders mate because the king can sort of just waddle away. So let's keep the king near the rook. We want to sort of walk the king down this way towards its own pawns. Oh, but he's going for the escape. Not to mention, actually, no, there's no check here because of the knight. Okay, we can buy another tempo. Let's play this. We're doing okay somehow. A little bit of, it feels like we're holding our position together with sticks and stones, but it's working for now, so we'll take it. Okay, the queen comes down, a little bit scary. Let's play check. We want to force the king back as soon as possible. Check. Now the king has to move down. We'll play check with the rook and keep pushing him towards its own pawns. And we really can't afford losing any more tempo here. We have 40 seconds to calculate this. Check again. And what's the threat back here? Probably just repeat checks. So maybe pawn forward and we can probably escape into our own pawn structure. Yeah, let's do that. Pawn forward and we have a little escape. We're down to 35 seconds. I really don't want to flag this one as well. Okay, queen takes, we'll play check. Check. We're just barely holding on here, but we get the ladders check, so we can move the king down another square. And I think that might be the combination that we're playing with here. Check again. Maybe we can just repeat that until the king reaches the pawns. It's a little bit time consuming, but it should be fine. We do get 2 seconds back, and we've actually crawled back up to 40 seconds. So this might actually work. Or are we just repeating moves here? Oh, we're just repeating moves. Holy smokes. Check and moves the king down. Okay, there we go. Then check again. Check, and now we're on a dark square, so we're definitely making progress. Nice. Check. We'll zoom in here because I'm pretty sure this just works. We'll move the king down another square. You can see all these arrows of the terrifying stuff that's going on down here, but it's not our issue at the moment. Check again, and if we can finesse the king all the way down, that would be just spectacular. Okay, he's going to try to escape this way. We have 37 seconds left. How do we stop this? Queen over. Queen goes down. We'll just move the king out of the way. 35 seconds still left on the clock. Oh, smokes. Let's play this. We'll escape this way. And if the queen gives check, we just cover with the pawn. So we kind of have like this diagonal barrier. It's kind of hard to see, but it's basically the idea. Uh-oh, so much for the diagonal barrier. Let's do this, I guess. Check again. I'm trying to use all of my pawns to complicate the position as much as possible. Okay, we'll move down and there's no more checks. We drop the knight, but there's no more checks. And there is a forcing sequence here that moves the king down a little bit more. Check. Oh, he's escaping. Holy smokes. Okay, let's play check here and start at least grabbing some pieces. Some pieces for our troubles. Check again. The king is escaping, so we are just going pawn munching now. Oh wait, we can bring the bishop into the attack. That might be enough, actually. Let's just be careful about this. Check. Oh, and this might be forced mate. Oh, this is forced mate. I've already seen it. We get check and zoom in for dramatic effect. Mate. The craziest part is that is actually one of the checkmates that we did practice. For the final time control, I had 25 seconds. The opponent had 26. With that, we do win game number 3 in nail-biting fashion. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know down below what your guys' strategy would be for infinite chess. If you don't have a strategy, honestly, go play a game. I'm genuinely curious what your guys' approach would be to this. I will see you guys in the next one. Again, go check out Pjschess Chess. He does daily live streams, and I'm usually there.